applause this afternoon. As I sat there and I reminisced a bit, look back in time, something came to my mind. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, but now I have become a man. I have put away childish things. When I was a young fisherman, I used to fish a certain way. But now I am a mature and older fisherman. I have to also, just like how I moved from a child to a man, you have to fish a different way. If there's anything that you take away from what I'm going to say, is that through the changing scenes of life, you have to make adjustments. And you have heard a lot about climate change and climate smart fishing and climate action, but it's not just a speech or something in a textbook. It is something that you live every single day. And I am not here to bring to you glasses with roses, but to tell you exactly how it is. Because if I pretty it up for you, you will soon find out that the realities of a changing climate will throw at you things that you really may not be prepared for. And I want to begin with the impact of Hurricane Beryl. When we started the year, Madam Chair, we did not know when we were celebrating New Year's Day. We did not know that July 1st, we were going to be struck by a Category 4 hurricane. And in my visit to Mairo, you told me that they had 35 functioning boats, and now they have only 3. And then I sit at my desk as a policymaker, and I start to count damage and loss. And I realize that I'm over $5, $6, $7 million boats and equipment. And I'm over 10, 15 million US dollars in terms of landside infrastructure. It makes me realize that CWA 2024 that we are having here, that the most topical issue that we can discuss is climate change. The Chief Fisheries Officer can't save you from climate change. The Minister of Agriculture can only help you to be prepared with the technical staff at the Fisheries Department. But the climate and the impacts that we are going to experience over the coming months and years, it has a mind of its own. And I think that we must begin first and foremost with having an honest conversation. Because there's something called, Madam Chair, climate trauma. The worst thing is if you're walking along a road and stones start coming at you, but you don't know where the stone's coming from. So you don't know where to run. You can't run and hide from climate change. And one thing I want to say to the fishermen and fisherwomen in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is that I want to thank you for not giving up. And I think we need to give them a special round of applause. Because if you look at the news and if you follow the impact of climate change and you are in the water diving, you know it's much warmer. I went to a primary school to speak to some children a few days ago, and a conversation that we have to have very soon is that we have to change the ventilation in a lot of these primary schools, because there were children there willing to learn, but everybody, the fan across their eyes was more than they were focusing on the chalkboard. And the farmers who will hear me, we have to change ours too. Because if you want to be productive, you may have to start working at 5:30 and try to get out of that sun before it is 9:30, and try to go back probably at 3:30, 4 o'clock until about 7:30. And sometimes when we have these conversations, we speak up a lot about esoteric things, but we don't deal with some of the real hard issues, the nuts and the bolts, the changes that we have to face. Because of the significant loss in the Grenadines, there is an extremely low supply of fish in the country. But what is amazing in the discussion is that somebody may walk into the fish market and not see fish, but forget that burial took place and the boats are knocked out. And I don't want to blame anyone, because climate change trauma is real. There are persons who are spending their last dollar, a fisherman going out to fish, just not getting the catch. You're blaming your crew, but then even if you change the crew, it ain't going to change the catch. And the question that we have to ask ourselves, with fish being of first importance to food security, how are we going to survive in an environment which, interestingly, is predicted by the scientists to worsen? You know, we say here in common parlance, if you think you see, you ain't see yet. And I am really happy that we have with us an excellent technical staff in country. We have the support of the CRFM, the FAO, AICA, other international and regional agencies. But one of the first issues that we have to address as we deal with climate trauma, it begins with us and a willingness to adapt. I hear from time to time the fishermen who tell me, Minister, I know that the 4-stroke engine is more efficient. But when you home sleeping and my 2-stroke break down with me at sea, I could fix it. But if we continue to use inefficient engines, it's going to break into the profits. Wales got, and you mentioned profit and loss we're going to face. We also, it's not too early for us to begin to discuss the issue of diversification in fisheries. It was very heartening to hear the report today that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are seeing a significant increase in the production and exportation of sea moss. How many more of our fishermen and women we will have to welcome to this industry as a part of a diversification strategy. What I want for us to spend some time discussing as we go through different themes, because I want to rest here since I was just asked to do the introduction. We can't blame ourselves for climate change. We can't point the finger at the man standing in front of you, because I ain't changed the climate. It might be easy to do because you're seeing me here, and if you want to point the finger at someone, you might not want to point it there, you might point it here. But I'm just asking and craving for honesty. I want men and women to be honest about what is happening. And for us to be our brother's keeper as we try to overcome the trauma that we are facing. I have a cousin from the windward side of the country. 30 years ago, he migrated to Union Island, got married, built a house, bought a boat. He will, in the tourism season, be a boat boy. He does fishing, conchs, different things. He said to me, in 30 minutes, he saw 30 years of his investment in life disappear before his eyes. And he was left standing in a shelter with his wife and his 3 kids. How do I speak to a fisherman like that, going through that trauma? Conversation must be honest. Let the conversation begin. Thank you.